An inflammatory neutrophilia is the increased neutrophil count in blood that occurs secondary to an inflammatory stimulus in some tissue. So this tissue is inflamed, it's producing lots of inflammatory cytokines, and those cytokines are traveling to the bone marrow and telling the bone marrow to please release more neutrophils, we need you out in the tissues. So the bone marrow does just that. If it's a mild stimulus, then it will release mature neutrophils into circulation. But if the stimulus is great enough, it will start calling on earlier precursors as well. The stage right before the mature neutrophil is called the band neutrophil, and that's because it has a band shape to its nucleus. And those band neutrophils will start appearing in circulation. If the stimulus is even greater than that, then it'll start calling on earlier forms as well. So the stage before that is metamyelocyte, and you might see those out in circulation, but not very commonly. It's pretty rare. And if the stimulation is even greater than that, then you might see the earlier precursors to the myelocytes. But this is extremely rare. At least for this course, I want you to be able to recognize bands, and I want you to recognize the terms metamyelocyte and myelocyte, but not necessarily be able to recognize those cells on a blood smear. So that's what occurs with acute inflammation. If the inflammation persists, then those inflammatory cytokines are still produced, and they still tell the bone marrow to produce more neutrophils, release more neutrophils. So under times of chronic inflammation, the bone marrow expands its proliferating pool of neutrophils, which then leads to increased numbers of all the stages in myeloid hyperplasia. So with chronic inflammation, the neutrophilia that you can see is due to increased production or hyperplasia, whereas acute inflammation, the neutrophilia that's seen, is due to release of storage segmented neutrophils and perhaps earlier precursors, bands, metamyelocytes, myelocytes.